Joe, you're kind of in an interesting spot right now, right?
Yep.
You're coming off a fight that you won that a lot of people think you lost, a fight that you lost that a lot of people think you won.
Yep.
What's the mindset like right now for you?
It's just karma. It all came around. I thought that I 100% beat Jim Miller the second time we fought, and I got the loss. So I was super bummed about it. And I'm like, this sucks forever. Going forward forever, I'm always going to be like one tier below and stuff. And then my next fight's kind of flipped the other way, After the fight, after I had time to go back and watch it, I do kind of think the decision was not as bad as I thought it was initially. But at the time, I was furious. I was so upset. It sucked. It sucked. I've never been so upset about someone giving me all kinds of money because I won a fight that I didn't think that I deserved.
So when you went back and watched it, because it was, it was close,
yes.
right? So you went back and watched it, you still thought maybe you lost, but you thought, okay, maybe I can at least see where they're coming from?
I can see it now. So I thought that when it was going on, I thought that I won the first round, but I didn't know. I thought the second round was really close, but I didn't know. So we go into the third round thinking, okay, we're down, maybe it's 1-1 or we're down 0-2, so we have to get a finish. If we don't get a finish, we're going to lose this fight. And third round, I got dominated. I just got taken down. I had nothing good to say or do in the third round. So I'm thinking I lost, and I'm looking down at the ground, and I'm talking to my coaches, and we're all bummed, and we're all upset. And then they announced that he won. One judge gave it to him. One judge gave it to me. I'm like, wait a second, no way. And then they announced that I won. And it was like a weird thing. Like once I went back and realized what was going on exactly, I won the first round clearly. The second round was super close, but I had a really close arm lock, and he didn't do anything except take me down. So I thought that I edged out the second. I thought that my arm lock was worth more than his takedowns, where he did nothing, literally did nothing. And then third round, he had takedowns, but I had literally nothing. So I gave him the third round. And I felt really, really bad about it all. And then I talked to him in the back room. He's like, yeah, that was our game plan. It was just take you down and hold you and not do anything. And I'm like, then I didn't feel so bad. I didn't feel so bad because he's like, the rule just came back and bit him. It came back and bit him. They're rewarding people that are being active and aggressive and trying to finish.
He was just.
He told me, he told me straight up. Like, yeah, no, that was our game plan. We don't want to grapple with you because you're so dangerous. And so it was like, oh, we're gonna take you down, hold you down a little bit, stand back up, take you down, hold you down a little bit. And I'm like, I felt a lot better about it all once he told me that. And English was a little bit, off there. But that was the way I took it. So I didn't feel as bad.
That's
afterwards.
funny. Well, I do wonder because obviously this game is all about adjustments and improving. But man, when you have two fights like that are so razor thin, that can kind of go either way. I wonder what you do. Do you just say, well, we're competitive, we keep doing what we're doing, or do you say, no, there's things we do have to do different?
You can always get better. Always get better. That's one of the things I preach to all the guys in my gym. My coaches preach to me, always get better. Even if when you win fights, there's things you could have done better. There's things you could have tweaked a little bit differently. Like fights that we won, that we blew people out of the water. We still could have done things better. So we're always, regardless of the outcome, we're always looking to tweak and adjust things. It's super clear as day when you have when you get blown out of the water and you have something. It's easy to have that kind of focal point of what you need to change. But every fight we're trying to get better, so it wasn't a big deal.
UFC fight number 24, I believe.
I think so.
Third most in the UFC lightweight division in history. T-Bow and Miller ahead of you. I mean, amazing. The type of numbers that you're starting to set, the type of records you're starting to set. I mean, did you ever in your life think that you would be here?
I thought so the first fight with Pulver, I thought we'd have that would be one or two, maybe three fights, but I thought that would be it. I never thought we'd be in the 20s or even 10. So it's kind of crazy the way it's all kind of just the course it's taken, but it's cool. It's awesome. I've thoroughly enjoyed the last 10 years. I've been able to focus so much. I love video games, and my entire life has been like a real life video game. I'm constantly trying to level up my social media, or level up the grappling, or my boxing, or my wrestling, or my strength conditioning, or whatever. My coaching staff, constantly trying to get better, make the improvements. So it's been fun. It's been really cool.
Certainly not a job that you can do forever, but you're still 32.
Yep.
I mean, you're still a young guy. I mean, so I wonder. I mean, it's like there's no reason physically for you to be thinking about the end of your fighting career. But at the same time, this is not, this type of sacrifices that you have to make, the type of lifestyle you have to live, I'm sure it's kind of tough. I mean, are you starting to think about where the end lies?
So I think some people are super strict on diet and everything like that. I don't eat what I want, but I kind of eat what I want. You know what I mean? I'm not super strict on that. So I feel like that's kind of the big thing that taxes people mentally. Whereas I had a cheeseburger last night. You know what I mean? It was like a turkey burger, but I'm pretty much I'm not super strict, all veggies and all greens like that. I enjoy training camp. It's tough, but physically there's no reason for me to stop. You know what I mean? You always hear I think the thing in the back of everyone's brain is always like, head trauma and stuff like that. But I think we're super safe. Like, I've had fights where I didn't get hit at all. I've had 24 fights in UFC. I've had some fights where I got, cleaned up. But I've had some fights where I didn't get hit at all. I've had a lot of training camps where I didn't get hit at all. We're really smart with training partners. We're really smart about taking time off. We're really smart about how we pace things. I see all these other guys that, like, they get knocked out in training and then they spar again that night, or they go back to the gym, and like, we're like so the opposite of that, like, if I got my bell rung last week, I wouldn't train at all until the fight. A month ago, I wouldn't train at all until the fight. Like, I think we were a little bit smarter on that stuff. So that part doesn't worry me so much, but it's always kind of in the back. But I just love training. It's just stay healthy, stay competitive. Now the big thing is, all these kids that are, start when they're like 4 years old, like they're 22 now, but, almost as long as they've been in the UFC, they've been training, since they were little kids. At some point it's going to catch up to me. Those kids are just going to be, it's going to be too much. I'm 32, but I don't feel like I'm slowing down. I definitely feel like every camp, even when I was 21, 22, I would have a couple days where I woke up and I was so like, oh, why am I doing this? But that's just the way, that's just the nature of the sport. But I don't feel like it's affecting me that much. It's just a little more time stretch in the beginning, a little more ice, no big deal though.
It's such an interesting time in the sport with obviously the UFC changing hands and everything that's going on. I wonder, do you consider yourself kind of you are kind of an elder statesman, whether you want to, you've been in this game as long as anybody. Do you consider yourself like kind of a leader? Do you want to help affect change or help direct fighters and teach them lessons that you've learned along the way?
I would love to be involved with the UFC doing something after, so maybe that'll be kind of the deal after. Right now, as far as I'm concerned, we're not teammates, but we're all kind of on the same playing field. We're all fighters. We're all on the same level. I don't think of like, oh, I've had more fights than this person. This person needs to, look up to me. Or like, I don't think that at all. But if once I'm done fighting, if it makes sense and I can help guys out, then I would love to do something along those lines. Yeah. Very
cool. All right. Well, big fight still ahead of you, Stevie Ray. Give me your thoughts. This is a guy that, again, it's kind of weird because you've been around for so long. There's new names that are going to pop up all the time. That I imagine you weren't following their career. You didn't see much about them. So what did you know about the guy going in, and what do you know about him now?
I didn't know a ton about him. I remember that he fought Ross Pearson. I remember it being a really close decision. I know that, just from going back and watching footage, he's got great footwork. He's got good boxing. He's got great kickboxing. He's got good wrestling. He's got good jiu-jitsu. So he's very well-rounded all the way. He tends to fight more on the feet than taking guys down. So I think that a fight's going to start on the feet. One of my coaches always says, there's going to be punches, there's going to be kicks, there's going to be elbows, there's going to be takedowns, there's going to be jiu-jitsu. We're ready for everything, and that was kind of the approach we took for this training camp. From the last fight, I felt like we got too specific in game planning and stuff like that, and it kind of didn't work out so well for us. So this time was a little bit more free about what was going on. And
in fairness, that was a guy that had one kind of really specialty.
He had a very specific style, but it didn't play out the way we thought it was going to. We thought we had to figure out a little bit closer than we did. So this camp was a lot more about being a little more flexible, a little more loose on where it's going to be. If we're having a kickboxing match, we're ready for that. If we're going to push him on the fence and beat him up there, we're ready for that. If we're going to take him down, we're ready for that. If he's going to take us down, we're ready for that. So no matter where it goes, we'll be happy to fight there. But he's tough. He's one of these guys. I think he's 4-1 in the UFC. This is what I'm talking about. One of these up and coming kids. I think he's like 24, 25. I'm 32, so he's I don't know. We're going to see what happens.
Still get nervous before fights?
Not really. I've been nervous for one fight ever, and that was when I fought Kenny Florian the first time. The first time I was main event. And I was fine, but we got there early to watch all the fights, so I was there all the time. And I'm seeing all these guys come back, beat up. This guy lost, that guy won, that guy lost. And then waiting to walk out, and Dana's like, oh, you nervous? I'm like, nope. He's like, really? Most guys are really nervous. I'm like, should I be nervous? It kind of it messed with me a little bit. But I really don't get nervous. I don't worry about stuff I can't change. I know that I'm gonna get locked in the cage. Everything I've done, training, getting ready for this fight it's already happened. So I'm not. It's just smooth sailing at this point. If I win the fight, it's gonna be awesome. If I lose the fight, I could have. It's just the way it goes. I know I trained and I did everything to the best of my ability. So see how it shakes out.
So what is your mindset going in? Because we think of a Joe Lauzon fight, we're going to get a scrap, but I imagine self-preservation is high on your list as well. I'm sure
it's pretty low on the list. It's pretty low on the list. Self-preservation is not that high. Attack. Obviously we don't want to go and run into like a head kick or something like that. But we're going to come forward. We're going to bring the pressure. I think that I do a good job at pressuring people. I think that's really what a lot of times I used to be known as having really, really strong first rounds. And I think a lot of that comes from just bringing pressure and just catching people when they're least expecting it.